Hi, and welcome to my Wednesday wrestling reviews. And this is going to be a long one this week because I got about 6 shows to go through. Um, so I started off this weekend watching NXT Takeover. We're going to go through the WrestleMania 34. Then we're going to go through the down, the 205 Live, and then the NXT this week. So that's what I hope to get through on the reviews. This weekend, I happened to get the WWE Network, so that's how I'm able to do this. I got it especially for the WrestleMania 34. So I hope you enjoy these reviews and appreciate my outlook on their wrestling. So let's start with NXT Takeover. The pre-show was boring and didn't really tell me anything new. It was just them talking about this match and that match, which I had seen from last week's NXT show, so it was like all boring to me. The opening song had a cool beat with a live band on the stage, but the music was so loud that I couldn't make out a word that the singer was saying, so I don't know if the song itself was cool. It opened with the 6-man ladder match for the North American Championship. It was EC3 versus Killian Dane versus Lars versus Ricochet versus Adam Cole and versus the Velveteen Dream. I personally was rooting for Velveteen Dream, but suspected that Ricochet would win. But surprisingly, Adam Cole wins, and he is the new champ. It was a great match, and it was very entertaining. Uh, the women's title match, Ember Moon versus Shane Baszler. Ember had a kick-ass entrance from a live band, which was really cool. The match itself was cool. Shayna Baszler won by tap out using her own hair to lock in the move because her arm was messed up early on by Ember Moon doing one of actually Shayna Baszler's moves to Shayna herself. But it was a great match too. I really enjoyed it. Then you had the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for titles and the trophy. And it was the Authors of Pain, Razor and Akeem versus Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole and Kylie O'Reilly. The Undisputed Era. Adam Cole was wounded from the previous match, of course, and the Undisputed Era actually won the match as Roderick Strong turned against Pete Dunne and joined the Undisputed Era. So it was a really entertaining match. And it was surprising that Roderick Strong turned against Pete Dunne. So next match was the NXT title match. Andrade Cien Almost versus Aleister Black. And I was rooting for Aleister Black, of course. But it was a really fun match. Selena Vega acted like old school manager, interfering, and ultimately she interfered so much it allowed the new champ, Aleister Black, to win. So that was a great match, highly entertaining. I really liked how Selena Vega got in there and was really distracting, so that was a good match. And then you had the unsanctioned match, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. If Johnny loses, then he is out of NXT. Now this was a silly and slow match, but Johnny finally wins by tap out. I originally wrote that this was the worst match on the card, but slightly entertaining. But overall, out of the whole week, I think this was the worst match for the week. So that's my thoughts of NXT Takeover. So now we move on to WrestleMania 34. On the pre-show, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, shocking finish, which was cool. Bray Wyatt helped Matt Hardy beat Baron Corbin and Mojo Rawley, which were both winners from previous Andre the Giant Battle Royals. And since Bray Wyatt wasn't in the match himself, he was just helping Matt Hardy win. So it was really cool. I'm glad to see that they're going to go with the tag team of them are working together. I think that's a really cool storyline. Cruiserweight title match: Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa. I was rooting for Cedric, who actually won the match, so that was a really entertaining match. In the women's battle royal, Naomi won after Bayley and Sasha Banks teamed up to defeat Riot Squad. Then Bayley surprisingly turned on Sasha to throwing her out and supposedly winning at first. But in a confusing turn of events, Naomi wasn't out and had a surprising win. Now, I say surprising turn of events because Naomi was, I thought, eliminated early on, but because of all the supposed commercial breaks or whatever, they it was really confusing to see what happened. And at one point, I seen her laying outside the ring, but I guess she must have went through the middle ropes or something and didn't get eliminated over the top rope. So to me, it was a surprising thing because I didn't even know she was still in the match. Okay, then we had the Triple Threat Intercontinental match: Seth Rollins versus The Miz versus Finn Balor. I was rooting for Miz to retain, but unfortunately Seth Rollins won and is now the new champ. It was a really entertaining match, though, and it had really good highlights in it. SmackDown's women's title match: Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. I was torn in this match and didn't know who I wanted to win. I love Charlotte's entrance and Asuka's bejeweled mask. The match was well, fast-paced, and highly entertaining. Surprising ending of Charlotte making Asuka tap to figure 8. I enjoyed good sportsmanship at the end, where Asuka said Charlotte was ready for Asuka. Congratulations. So Asuka is no longer undefeated and Flair retained the title. At the end of the women's match, a referee ran out to John Cena in the crowd, and John Cena then ran to back up the ramp to the back. After that was a four-way United States Championship match: Bobby Roode versus Rusev versus Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton, who was a champ. And I was rooting for Randy to retain, but unfortunately, Jinder Mahal won the title, so now we have to put up with him as a champ again, which is alright. He's a good wrestler, but not one of my favorites. Alright, then we had the mixed tag match: Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. Stephanie and Triple H had an awesome motorcycle entrance, and this was a very highly entertaining match. Ronda Rousey finally wins by an armbar on Stephanie, but it was cool how Ronda also wrestled some with Triple H, showing that she could really hold her own. Then we had a tag team triple threat title match for the SmackDown titles. It was New Day versus Usos versus Bludgeon Brothers. New Day had Kofi and Big E wrestle with Xavier Woods outside, but Bludgeon Brothers beat on him first, keeping him out of the. After a very chaotic high-action match, the Bludgeon Brothers finally became the new tag champions. John Cena entrance. He thinks Undertaker is coming, but a referee runs out and tells him no match. Elias comes out and eventually John Cena beats him up. As Cena is leaving the ring, the lights go out. Undertaker's gear appears in the ring and then struck by lightning, and then out comes Taker. We have an actual match, Cena versus Taker, which Undertaker basically dominated Cena and destroyed him. It wasn't a great match, like technical match, because you're like thinking John Cena can make a comeback, but for entertaining, for nostalgia purposes, it was a really great match. Next after that was a tag team match, SmackDown, and it was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's SmackDown jobs on the line. Sammy and KO jump Shane and Bryan. Bryan's out of the match for a while, but letting Shane get beat up for a while. But Bryan finally gets back in and he wins with the submission yes lock. And the crowd was highly into it. It was an entertaining match for what it was, but now I'm wondering what they're going to do with Sammy and KO. Uh, Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. Alexa Bliss had Mickie James out there with her. Nia Jax wins after first beating up Mickie James and then in a fairly decent back and forth between her and Alexa, which Alexa tried all kinds of cheating moves against her, but finally Nia got her and became the new champion. SmackDown WWE title match, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. It was a barn burner. Styles retains with Style Clash, and then Shinsuke acts respectful at first, and then at the very end attacks AJ with the low blow, and then several kicks, and then finally the Shaska knee strike, leaving him laying in the ring as he left. Then you had a tag championship on Raw, which was Sheamus versus Cesaro versus Braun Strowman and some kid Nicholas from the crowd, who Braun went to go look for. Braun Strowman and Nicholas become the new champs. I thought it was a cool storyline, but it was a little weird, But I guess in a way they just wanted to show Braun Strowman being strong enough to beat up two Cesaro and Sheamus. Then you had the Raw Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. After delivering several F5s and receiving several spears, Brock Lesnar defeats a bloodied Roman Reigns, retaining his championship. And that is it for WrestleMania. We'll go to Raw here in a minute. So now let's move on to the Raw after WrestleMania 34. Stephanie McMahon opens up the show and introduces Ronda Rousey. She's giving praise to Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey again makes her tap out to the armbar. Then we have a women's tag match, Alexa Bliss and Mickie James versus Nia Jax and Ember Moon. Winner, Nia Moon. Ember Moon won her debut match with the Eclipse. It's a really entertaining match. Basically, they tried to keep Nia Jax out of the match, but Nia eventually comes in and then Ember Moon wins. Braun Strowman and Nicholas appear before Kurt Angle after the match and relinquish the tag belts due to a scheduling conflict of Nicholas being in the 4th grade. I thought that was a really good ending for that storyline because I didn't know how they were going to do it. I figured they would probably do something where they were going to say that, oh, he cheated, or say something about the fact that having civilians being there is detrimental to the thing. But that storyline was a pretty good ending for it. Next, we have No Way Jose debut, beating some jobber in a match and leading a dancing conga line to and from the ring. I didn't care at all. I wasn't really paying that much attention to this part. Cesaro and Sheamus see Kurt Angle about getting the titles back, but Kurt announces a 4 tag teams tournament with the winner facing them in 3 weeks at pay-per-view. So then they went to the tag tournament match number 1, and it Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson of the Revival. The Revival wins, but this was a boring match. I really didn't care about either team. So next after that, Seth Rollins, new IC champ, addresses the crowd. Finn Balor interrupts the challenge for the title. The Miz then comes out. Miz says he invokes his rematch at Backlash. But if Seth and Balor wanted a match, Now, The Miz and the Miztourage could take them both on. Then Jeff Hardy comes out to join, but Miz and Miztourage leaves without a match. Good to see Jeff's back, because I really enjoyed Jeff Hardy. After the commercial, they announced match later tonight. Then we have a women's single match, Sasha Banks versus Mandy Rose with Absolution. Bayley comes out to support Sasha, but Bayley ends up costing inadvertently Sasha and allowing Mandy to win. After the match, Paige gives her retirement speech, which was a really good speech. They review Cena and Undertaker match from WrestleMania 34 before Elias is in ring playing music and talking. Bobby Lashley returns to attack, leaving Elias laid out in the ring. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn confront Kurt Angle about a job on Raw. Kurt says he only has one opening and they have to fight for it later tonight. They agree to face each other. In a tag match, Rhino and Heath Slater, which I was rooting for, versus the Authors of Pain, Akeem and Razor, with Paul Ellery. Authors of Pain wins, crushing Heath Slater and Rhino, and then tells Paul Ellery to stay at the ring, basically separating themselves from him as they leave. So it was an interesting debut for them. They announced Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar rematch at Greatest Royal Rumble in a steel cage because Brock renewed contract. Roman then comes to ring to talk. He says that everything about Brock was a surprise to him, but if Brock keeps facing him, he'll be champ. Then Samoa Joe surprisingly comes out to say Roman is a failure and tells him he'll wait until Backlash to put Roman to sleep. Then they have the tag tournament match number 2, Titus Worldwide, Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews with Dana Brooke versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, my new favorite tag team. Of course, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt win, so they're going to move on next week, I guess, to face the Revival. Then you have Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for the Raw contract. Both of them lose the match to a 10 count where they both couldn't get to their feet. Therefore, neither of them gets the contract. And back, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt run into Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins, and Balor, who are on the way to the ring in a funny interchange, which I thought was pretty funny. Especially the part at the end where Hardy, they ask Jeff Hardy, what was he talking about? And Jeff Hardy just shrugs his shoulders as they continue to go to the ring. 6-man tag, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Jeff Hardy versus The Miz and the Miztourage, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Seth Rollins wins for his team with his stomp. After match, the Miztourage gets beat up even more. So that was it for Raw. Now we move on to SmackDown, which starts with Sami Zayn coming out to the ring. He talks about thanks for watching WrestleMania 34, making it a success, and announces that Daniel Bryan stepped down as manager, announcing Paige as the new manager, and Paige announces that Daniel Bryan will versus AJ Styles in the main event tonight. Now, it was really awesome to see that they ain't going to get rid of Paige, that she's going to stick around for a while, I thought. Okay, start with the WWE SmackDown Tag number 1 contendership match. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay versus the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods with Kofi Kingston at ringside. And the Usos end up winning. The women's match, Naomi versus Natalya. Naomi won that match. Then Renee Young tries to interview Shinsuke about why he attacked AJ, but he won't answer. Kind of funny. He's like, I don't speak English. At one point, that's how it ended. Then Charlotte Flair comes out to talk about her match at WrestleMania 34. New NXT girls show up, the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. They beat up Flair, and then Carmella cashes in Money in the Bank to become the new SmackDown Women's Champ. Uh, Carmella gave an entertaining heel promo about winning the title too afterwards. Then they had a triple threat U.S. title number one contendership match: Randy Orton versus Rusev versus Bobby Roode. Randy Orton wins with the RKO on Bobby Roode. I thought it was a really good, entertaining match too. Then they had Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. The match ends when Shinsuke Nakamura comes out, attacks Daniel, then really attacks AJ with two low blows and a bunch of his kicks. And that's kind of how they went off the air on SmackDown. To go back to the Carmella thing, I'm glad they kind of wrapped up that storyline with her Money in the Bank briefcase now, and that she's actually got the title. So that's kind of a cool change too, I thought. So now we're gonna go to 205 Live. They start by talking about Cedric Alexander title win at WrestleMania 34. Then they have Kalisto versus Akira Tozawa. Sort of a long back and forth match, but despite injured knee, Kalisto wins with Selena del Sol. I guess the match was okay, but it wasn't really my thing. Uh, I do like Kalisto a little bit, so I was rooting for him in the match, and he wins. Drew Gulak versus Mark Andrews. Drew Gulak wins by submission. Tony Nese comes out to save Mark as Gulak tried to continue attacking him. In that match, I was just kind of watching it. I guess I was a little bit rooting for Drew Gulak because I really don't know much about Mark Andrews. So, but at the same time, I wasn't really impressed with the match. Then you had Drake Maverick come out and inviting Cedric Alexander so they could talk about it and congratulate. But Mustafa Ali comes out to congratulate him. And then Buddy Murphy sneak attacks Cedric and leaves him laying in the ring at the end. So going on to NXT this week, I enjoyed the very first match, which was Kairi Sane versus Lacey Evans. It was an entertaining match, back and forth action, and Kairi Sane won with an elbow drop. They go over a lot of stuff from NXT Takeover. I was bored. Here's my question. Since all of this is only on the network, and the pay-per-view was on the network, and if you have the network, you can already watch both, why review so much? It could be because of Hulu, but at the same time, I think they're also just spreading out the show because they didn't really have much going on the show other than the big reviews. So a lot of the show was a lot of review stuff that I already knew because I watched the pay-per-view, so it was pointless to me. But they did end the show with a tag team match. It was Heavy Machinery versus Roderick Moss and Tino Sabatelli. The match goes until another tag team, the War Raiders, attacks both teams, leaving them lying. I was unimpressed by any of the teams and really didn't care about this match to begin with. So that was my review of wrestling this week. Leave some comments down below, man. Let me know what you thought of if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, what you thought of the wrestling this week. Let me know. And maybe I'll reply back to you and we can enjoy a little back and forth there. But anyway, that's my thoughts on wrestling this week. I hope you join me next Wednesday for another week in wrestling. See you later. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video, ring that notification bell to keep up with the latest videos, comment below to let me know what you thought. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and you can support the channel through Patreon. Links are in the video description below. Thank you very much.